Hey there guys, it's Silver, your host, and we are back with another simple Digivolution guide. I have started a new save file, and in this guide I am going to show you how to get a Meramon from the starting Agumon in the game. Meramon is a very particular Digimon. He has 4 very specific stat requirements that you need to hit in order to get him, and I'll explain those now. First of all, he needs to have more than 100 offense. That's a key stat there. He also needs to have between 15 and I believe 25 weight, but to keep it more precise, I'm going to go between 15 to 20. He also needs to have more than 10 battles that he wins, and 5 care mistakes. And for those of you who are not well versed in care mistakes, they are either neglecting to feed your Digimon when he is hungry, neglecting to let your Digimon sleep when he is tired, or letting your Digimon go to the toilet on the floor. For the purpose of this guide, we are going to let our Agumon go to the toilet 5 times on the floor as his care mistakes. And now we'll begin the guide proper, and I'll show you the steps to take to get yourself a Meramon. So here we go. Now, if you're starting the game, it's very easy to get the 10 battle requirement, because there are 2 compulsory Digimon you can get very early on in Agumon when you first leave the city, and Palmon further into native forest. They will count for 2 of your 10 fights, and the Madoki Betamon nearby are also very weak and easy to defeat. So, we're going to get our 10 battles first, and then after that, we'll focus on another stat requirement. In order to make sure this guide is successful, you should go to Palmon almost immediately and try to recruit her to the city. The reason being, she gives you giant meat when she expands the meat farm, which puts your Digimon's weight up by 2 every time he eats. You're going to need this, because at the beginning of the game, the Agumon you get usually becomes full from just 1 Digimushroom or 1 piece of meat, which will be a weight gain of 1, and then every time he goes to the toilet, he will lose 2 weight. So you will be constantly dropping weight when you need to keep it at a very specific requirement, somewhere between 15 or 20. So start by getting Palmon as quickly as possible. You can also use the excess bits that you get from fighting Digimon to get your 10 battle requirement to pay for extra giant meats to feed your Agumon and keep his weight up. Battle time. Defeating Palmon will give you 1000 bits, as demonstrated here, on top of the 100 you got from the first Agumon. And it will also give your Digimon partner a few little buffs to their stats, which is good. We're going to need those. Now, Palmon drops a brain chip. For the purpose of this guide, do not eat it, and I will explain why. In order to ensure that we hit the precise requirements to get Meramon, we are going to have to make sure that we keep only his offensive stats above 100. Do not get any of his other stats, defense, speed, or brains above 100, or his HP and MP above 1000, because if you do, you might inadvertently hit the stat requirements for another Digimon because of the way stat requirements and priorities work. So, we're going to now carry on. We have arrived at Koella Point. This is where we find Koellamon. You will need to speak to him right now. He turns up in the evenings. When the sun starts to set, you will see it on the clock. Hey, are you human? Go through his questions, and when he asks, did you come to see me? Yes, you looked all over. Good. He will take you across the river to Tropical Jungle. You need to go here. And now I want you to follow my steps from here exactly. Because you need 2 Digimon to make this guide viable. As I said, the steps are very precise. First of all, now that you've arrived in Tropical Jungle, you are going to let your Agumon go to the toilet on the floor again. He doesn't particularly need to start going in the actual toilet until you've hit those 5 care mistakes. We are going to let him sleep in a moment though. It's important we don't deprive him of sleep, because if that happens, he will get sick, and there are very few ways to cure him if that happens. Because I recently found out that certain versions of the game don't get the item stash from Tokomon at the beginning of the game. Certain regions. So, his stats are looking okay. This item stash, by the way, you get given this by Tokomon in Jijimon's house. Good. Now we've found Betamon. Ruru. Something came back to life. Huh? I used to live in the city. You smell like the city. Good. Then we keep going through the dialogue tree. We get Betamon to join the city. And there you have an item shop. Excellent. Now we are going to head back through Tropical Jungle. Yep, let Agumon go to the toilet on the floor. There's 2 care mistakes. He's gone to the toilet on the floor twice now, so there's 2. We're going to need at least 3 more. I'm going to let him go 4 times, just to be sure it's over the required amount. So, we're going to let our Agumon sleep. Do not deprive him of sleep. Very important you don't do that. Right, so sleep. Now, we are going to head back across from Tropical Jungle. You will see in a moment that by crossing through this way, the bridge is fixed. We are back in File City, and you will see here that Betamon has opened the item shop. Now, for the sake of this guide, I want you to sell this brain chip. I would usually advise against that, but right now, we are going to need money. So, buy yourself 10 small recoveries, an extra 2 MP floppies, and lots of meat. Right, so your supplies should look something like this now. And there's still one more thing we need. Since it's past midnight, we can go back up to Palmon and get today's stash of giant meat to feed our Agumon. Right, good. 3 pieces of giant meat, and as you will see here, weight is on 13. Give him some giant meat. Up to 15, and it keeps our weight on an even keel. Now, we can buy more giant meat. I want you to do that. Buy 1 piece, by 2 pieces by a 3rd piece. Good. Now, I want you to force feed him. That's right. Feed him another 2 pieces. It brings his happiness and discipline down, but for the sake of this guide, we need to get his weight up. That should be enough for now. Good. Excellent. Now, the next stage of this guide is to start doing more battles. That's going to be very important. So, we've already got 2 battles under our belt. We're going to get some more. For the purposes of this guide, we are going to fight either the 2 Dokunamon that spawn outside of the city during the night, or the 2 Betamon that spawn during the day. We are going to fight both of them, then leave the map for them to respawn, come back, rinse and repeat until we have our 10 battles. This will be our 3rd. Also leave to pick up more healing items with your leftover bits as necessary. We got 2 at once there. That was not intended and that doesn't usually happen. So we'll see how this goes. Make sure you fight them both separately, because of the way the game's mechanics work. That will only classify as 1 battle, even though we fought 2 of them. So fight them 1 at a time, both to make your fights easier and to rack up your internal battle counter for the game. Dokunamon drop various. We're going to need those later for future fights. So yes, rinse and repeat until you have 10 separate battles under your belt. It's a good idea to keep a mental note of how many you've done. So far it's 3, and you need 10 or more, so I'm going to go for 11 or 12 in total. We are 3 care mistakes and 9 battles into our total. This is what our Agumon's stats look like. He's well within the weight requirements we've set of between 15 to 20, or the personal weight requirements I've set. His offense is far above what it needs to be. We're going to get a couple more battles in, so he's over the 10 battle threshold, and then it's just a case of keeping his weight where it is, and maybe just rounding off his stats a bit more with some additional training, because the HP and MP could do to be a tiny bit higher. Provided you keep them below 1,000, it shouldn't be an issue. So I'll be back in a little while. Alright, we are now done with our battles. We have racked up a total of 13 battles. Like I said, the requirement was 10 or more. We have 4 care mistakes in the form of going to the toilet on the floor, and his weight is still above that 15 mark that we set. So, provided we get just a couple more care mistakes to make it about 5 or 6, in about 2 days' time, we should have a Meramon. We should have hit everything. The offense is above 100, we've got 13 battles, we have the weight between 15 and 20, which is what we set, and we just need to get those last 2 care mistakes, and then we should be good. Should have hit every requirement, and this right here is what our stats look like after 2 days of solid training, 13 battles, and 5 care mistakes. Be sure to keep that weight around that bracket of 15 to 20. Don't let it go any lower. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our Meramon. Let's check out his stats, shall we? See? Just about everything. Minus the HP is above either 100 or 1,000. And this guy is going to be pretty sturdy. He's going to do enough to take you through the beginning segments of the game. Now, if you thought this guide was useful or helpful in any way, do be certain to let me know, and I will keep making more of them because they seem to do very, very well. Leave some suggestions in the comments as to what Digivolution guide you would like to see next. Thank you very much for stopping in. Thank you very much for the continued support. You guys are awesome. These videos have had thousands of views. And I will, of course, see you in the next one. So guys, I have been Silver, your host. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon or night, and I will see you again very soon. Take care, guys.